Mula rito sa Kabul, ang kapitolyo ng Afghanistan, ako si Jessica Soho, nag-uulat.
After 9/11, we went to Afghanistan. Once the Taliban had fled, they were already allowing journalists to get in. We decided to visit a village that was being demined of landmines. There was a deminer who was injured because the landmine that he was trying to remove just exploded. And the ambulance came, and my cameraman was taking video of the ambulance as it was trying to pull away. So he put the camera down on the ground. Just as the ambulance was leaving, the tires hit an anti-tank landmine. You know how in the movies they depict explosions as coming in waves, in heat waves? That is so true, because I felt so hot on one side of my face and I actually saw the waves. I probably remember it for life and bring it with me till death. It's just, you know, an ordinary news day for a journalist, probably.
Ako po ang inyong kapuso, Jessica Soho. Jessica Soho.
Ako si Jessica.
Ako po si Jessica. Ako po si Jessica Soho at ito ang Eyewitness.
My name is Jessica Soho. I've been a journalist for television for the past 40 years. I started out as a reporter covering various beats and various stories. Then we started producing programs for current affairs, more long-form like documentaries and special reports. And then I got my own program. So I've practically done anything and everything that has to do with broadcast journalism. As a reporter, as a producer, and as the head of a newsroom. In the local language, bubog is this glass shard that we keep inside of us that gives us pain, and whenever we're down, somehow all our troubles come flowing back. And Ricky Lee, the author of this term, says that we have to overcome this bubog or glass shard if we want to move forward in life. The glass shard that I keep inside would be the loss of my mom when I was only 8 years old. She died of cancer. My dad was around, but I was just so lucky that both my grandmothers on both sides of the family doted on me, and I was their favorite grandchild. But of course, you know, my other cousins and my brother would contest that. But because I was so close to my grandmothers, I was sort of immersed in their lives and in their worlds at an early age. My paternal grandmother was a meat vendor in the local market, and my maternal grandmother was a retired public school teacher. On weekdays, we lived in the center of the town, where I also went to school. I was schooled in the local Catholic school run by Belgian nuns. And on weekends, we would hie off to the suburbs or the barrio, where I got to interact with my playmates who were the children of farmers. There were no journalists in the family, but my dad just liked to watch TV news all the time. This is probably the big influence in my life, why I ended up becoming a journalist. I'd say I had a very textured, ordinary childhood, except that it was also tragic because my mom died when I was still a small girl, and it wasn't as happy as it should have been. But I'm okay. I turned out okay, I guess. Yeah. Recently, they've been asking me to make a lot of speeches, and I had to do a lot of soul searching and internalizing and walking through my childhood. And I remember that I learned how to read very early in both English and Ilocano. That's the language we have up north, northern Philippines. I learned how to read very early on because the nuns in school made us memorize prayers, one after the other. Prayers was a form of practice for reading and memorizing for me. And pretty soon they were asking me to be a reader in the Mass and also to do the Holy Rosary in the community. It was prayers that have sustained me because I've had a lot of dangerous assignments. Had I not learned how to be prayerful enough in life, I don't know if I'd still be here.
Here to accept the Peabody is Jessica Soho, who's the reporter, producer, and host for the GMA Network.
As we receive this award in behalf of our station, GMA Network, in the Philippines, we have colleagues out there covering various conflicts in our country, and to them, we dedicate this award. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas!
The Philippines is a third world country. Unfortunately, we've had the same issues and problems from 4 decades ago when I was just a young journalist. Still the same stories that I cover now. We need people like journalists to be able to report it as it is. Unfiltered, no lies, first-hand experience. It's from what you saw. It's devoid of any bias, devoid of anything that's not true. I've always said that this job is a privilege. It's a front seat to history. Not all people could have witnessed everything that I've seen. Content will always be king or queen. We're just incidentals. We're the storytellers, we're not the story. It's so difficult to tell that now to young reporters because you know how social media has turned everything personal. Now it's, you know, it matters who's telling the story, who's talking in front of the camera, etc. But I used to tell our young reporters, you're not the story, don't take yourselves too seriously. You have a job to do, this is a mission, this is a responsibility.
Ready ka na ba, Ryan? Ito na yun. Kung sino yung nandun sa loob, yun yung nanay mo, ha? Ito na. Halika.
Yan po.
Ito na.
We need to keep telling stories because stories bind us. Stories are fun. And in my own program, we like to say that stories inspire and have the power to change lives. We should keep telling stories and keep the conversations going. If we can face each other straight in the eye and say, this is what I think and I respect what you think, only then can we have common ground and have some peace, I think, in the world. If you trace the history of the country, we've always been family-centered. We like to stay together, we like to do things together, and if you ask, I suppose a lot of us here, what their number one source of happiness is, that it would be family. And the unfortunate thing is, now we have to leave home to find work. You'd have professionals making money abroad and sending money back for the rest of the family and supporting, you know, younger siblings, your old parents, probably even extended family. Well, there are Filipinos all over the world now. Wherever I go, there's sure to be 1 or 2 Filipinos at least. Wherever there's work, there's a Filipino there. We're a very prayerful people, and I'd like to believe that we're caring and kind people. That's why they like our nurses and our caregivers. And I say that with pride. We have that ability to smile through the most dire of circumstances. It's also good that there are Filipinos all over because wherever they are, they bring a little bit of the Philippines with them. My dad is half Chinese, but his dad died when I was little, and I don't have memories of my paternal grandfather. For a big part of my life, I didn't know that side of the family because no one ever went back to China after my grandfather died. So when we were starting one of my past programs, my producers had this brilliant idea of maybe we should start looking for your family in China. And it turns out that it wasn't such a difficult task to do because there's actually a government agency in China who will help, overseas Chinese. And that was how we were able to trace my family roots there. The province is Guangdong and the big city is Guangzhou and the other big city is Kaiping. And the village of my grandfather is near Kaiping. Now I can put a face to that side of our family. Like I know that I have probably cousins and aunts and uncles who are still there. There was a strong typhoon that hit the Philippines recently, and then I read in the news that from the Philippines, the storm or the typhoon went straight to Guangdong. And so I wondered, oh, did the typhoon also reach my grandfather's village? I always have this connection to this village now after tracing my family's roots there. Family search, Jessica Soho, Family History Discovery Experience. So here we go. Jessica, we know you have already spent a great deal of time researching your family and their history, especially on your father's side while on your trip to China. We have found some additional valuable records on your mother's side we would love to share with you. On your mother's side, Family Search was able to add a few more generations to your family. Okay, so this is like my family tree. Oh, so my dad has another name. I didn't know his name is also Tirso. I'm going to tease him about that. Some of the names are familiar. I know some of this because the names were carried over even to our generation. Wow. One of the ancestors we were able to uncover was Tomas Haravata Aspiras and his son Alipio. They are your great-great-grandfather and your great-uncle. Well, one of the names, Alipio, is familiar because my cousin was named after him. Oh, he was Cabeza de Barangay. He was the leader of the village. This baptismal record shows that Tomas Aspiras is listed the Cabeza de Barangay in 1870. The Cabeza de Barangay was a significant government position during the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines. From records, we have found that a few of your ancestors held this generally hereditary position. Look, they had such beautiful handwriting. It was an art form, writing calligraphy, and everything was in Spanish. Now that we know that Alipio was the Cabeza de Barangay, we can see additional evidence of their social status in the burial records of Alipio and his wife Carlota. On Carlota's burial record, she and Alipio are referred to with the honorific titles of Doña and Don. Wow, we're rich! I can afford to retire. The records also show us that while others in the same community on average had a total of 3 pesos and 50 centavos spent on their burials. Wow, this is interesting. Wow, ang yaman nila. Both Alipio and Carlota have over 40 pesos of burial costs recorded, signifying their wealth and status during this time. Looking back at your family's fan chart, we can see that some of your family lines stop abruptly. Oh, why is that? Records in the Philippines are not widely available. Many documents have either been destroyed or are so badly damaged that even digital copies can be difficult to read. And we had the war. Like my dad doesn't have his birth records. Luckily, we were able to find your parents' marriage record, which was well preserved. Uy. We learn a few details about their marriage from this record, including that they were 20 and 22 years old when they were married. I'll show this to my dad. Even with the difficulties around record preservation, there are still many precious details we were able to uncover that reveal more about the lives of your ancestors. Truly, every record is important. That is so true. it's good to have roots. Then you would be able to understand who you are as a person. It's important to have family history and to know it, because then you would be able to appreciate all the sacrifice that your ancestors did for you. I tell young people now, forget everything else that I've taught you except this, to be good and do good. I really believe in that. I try not to think so much of my legacy, whatever it is. I just want to be known as someone who told good stories and who tried to be a good person. That's enough. That's enough for me.